welcome to Spirit Switchboard. I am your host, Kerrilynn Shellhorn, and you are listening to us live on the United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 and 107.7 New Orleans. So thanks everybody for being here today. I cannot tell you how excited I am. Like, I honestly woke up this morning thinking it was Christmas, and I was trying really hard to stay present and not want the day to rush through so that we could get to where we're sitting right now. Yeah, just really excited. And there's just going to be so much to share with you guys. So we're just going to jump right into it. So my guest today is Joni Templeton Skinner. She is a clairvoyant and forensic astrologer. Growing up clairvoyant, Joni has been assisting victims, families, and law enforcement in missing person cases and cold case homicides for the past 30 years. She's currently host to her own psychic true crime podcast with the Rift Radio Podcast Network, True Crime Mysteries Beyond the Veil. It is on Mondays at 7 Eastern. Please hang out. You can hang out with me in the chat, and you're going to learn about all kinds of stuff. It's amazing. And she is also author of her book, Activating Your Gift. And the Claires, let's bring Joni in.
Oh, I was excited all day too.
Yeah. Like, it was really hard to stay present today. I mean, I was, but it was a busy day. I'm glad that we're sitting where we're at now, though.
Busy days are okay. They're good. For 2024, because I do astrology as well, but my passion is forensic astrology for those that are like, oh, we can't go on another year. We've been through so much.
It is funny. Lots of people are commenting that already. Like, it's been a long year and we're only at the end of February. Like,
we've got good transits through 24. A lot of awakenings, a lot of healings, a lot of clairvoyancy, a lot of downloads for people.
Yeah.
And if you're already clairvoyant like you are, like super medium, you're just going to get bombarded.
Oh, it was the week. It was certainly the week. Hi, Linda. Thank you for being here. I know that Linda is one of the people that hangs out with you during your show. She's one of
she is
the people I see commenting there. Hello, Deb. Thank you for being here.
We do. We have a great crew on Monday night, and a lot are clairvoyants. So as I'm going through the forensic astrology, they will pick up downloads of the case. And
so, to be honest with you, I was not prepared. Like, I truly was not prepared. Like, I was watching you, and for the most part, like the very first episode, the very first segment that I watched, Joni, and you were showing the charts, I was looking at those charts and I went like, I failed grade 9 math, grade 10 math, grade 11 math. Failed each year because I hold my breath and go, I can't do it. And I'm looking at these charts and going, oh, my Lanta, you are a genius. I'm like, you could read me a dictionary and I will be emotionally invested, Joni.
I hate math. I cannot do math. And when I started astrology when I was like 12, we had to do it all by hand. Now with the computer, it's like bam, bam, bam. So it's anybody can do it now.
And then the intuitive part, I remember that first segment. Hi, Kathy. Thank you for joining us tonight. You were encouraging people, like, if you're picking up, let me know. And I've always hesitated. It's not like, it's certainly things that I've done in the past, but I understand the weight of responsibility that comes along with what you're passing along, right? So that first segment I was watching, and I think I held my breath the whole time. And when I do that, they all in spirit sound like the teacher from Charlie Brown, wah, 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 on slow-mo, right?
Push. It's the push,
the
medium push.
If you are open intuitively and you're watching Joni's segments, you need to be okay with just allowing any information to flow. What you do with it is up to you. You will know what to do with it, if you need to do something with it or just hold the space for it. But definitely stuff comes through.
It does come through. And I think the open space, and I've done this for a long time, but I necessarily want to find the missing person or the links to whatever the family of a
Yeah.
person goes through. But I don't necessarily care who did it. Let law enforcement take care of who did it.
Right.
We don't, no
Oh,
names. It's like my mission is to find that person. That's it.
I agree. I think for me, and it's when I'm saying the weight of responsibility, I don't need my name attached to any of that kind of work that I've done. I don't need people to know that I've done it. I don't need any accolade from it. It just feels, like being of service for the right reasons, right? Like,
I think so. Absolutely. And, the search and rescue groups that I work with, like on a mapping, as you've seen it, the mapping that we do, we can put planets around it, like what Saturn was doing, what Jupiter was doing, what the sun was doing. They're like, no, just send us a map. We don't care how it works. We don't know why it works. Just show me where they're at. So you're right. I mean, no, you don't.
Oh my gosh, Tammy, she is amazing. She's
so
beyond amazing. I agree, Tammy. And I'm loving getting to know you too, Tammy, from the conversations and how it unfolds. You really do start a community of people. Yeah. And everybody plays a part in it.
She is search and rescue.
Yes. Is she in Texas?
Yes, she's down in Texas.
I'm listening. I'm paying attention.
She does. She's got the canine. She's a PI. She's a private investigator.
Love it. Yeah, I love it.
And she's one of those people that she will go out of her way to help everybody. And
so there, is it Tammy that's doing the fundraiser right now, or is that something else?
Tammy,
you want to share that?
Families is doing a fundraiser to raise an award so that the family can have more award money.
Right.
Because people don't realize when someone goes missing, they have flyer expenses. Many of them have to quit their jobs to go out and search for their loved one. They have to hire a PI. So it's on March the 1st. And I'll give you all the links for the mugs benefit. It's a raffle. And it's the girl's sister. She makes mugs, and it's like 3 chances for $5 for little mugs that she made.
Kathy's daughter.
Yeah, Kathy's daughter. And Kathy lost her other daughter. She's missing in Texas. So we work on that case as well. Okay. So it's a big family. And a lot of the families that tune in have also lost loved ones. For example, Linda has a group called A Place of Solace. She lost her granddaughter tragically. So she's formed a private group in Facebook to help others.
Okay. So Linda, Tammy, Kathy, if you guys want to put any of that information like in the chat, I can put it up as well too for people to read. And we can, for the audio listeners, we'll say, the information or link you guys out as well too. So the people that are listening to the audio later are also able to find you guys. Linda's just saying so many heartbreaking stories.
Yes.
And I'm in Canada, and it's here too.
Well, I had a case in Canada, and it was up. Or is it New Brunswick?
Yeah. So New Brunswick is out east. Yeah. I'm in Ontario.
And I'm the Kentucky girl. So when the police would call, they have the French accents, which it was a beautiful accent.
The East Coast people are the best, actually.
And I'm like, I'm from Kentucky. And he was having a hard time listening to what I was saying. And I'm like, why don't we just write this out?
Right. So funny. The East Coast people are very laid back and appreciative. Like they're great. Oh, thank you.
If I was close, I would be up there searching with them. There's Kathy.
Yeah, if you type it in, then I can we'll definitely share through here too for you guys.
Well, thank
so
you.
I think you're quite welcome. You're welcome. That's what it's about, right?
Yes.
Can we dial it all back for people and maybe say, could you share with us how you actually got started? Like, I know you said you started with astrology at age 12. I think we all do in teen magazines, what our astrology is going to be like for the week. But I mean, I don't think that I'm learning so much just in those few weeks of how astrology could be so different with a different focus and maybe understanding myself more, because you also hang out with Keith Ottersberg afterwards, sometimes on the Otter's Den through the Rift Nation as well too, and talking about, astrology. And I'm learning so much from you. Yeah, that's helping me actually. So, I think that maybe we can, and other people who don't understand astrology or have an interest or being pulled to it, maybe you can help us understand it more.
Well, I think for me, it's to always, because I'm a Libra, I'm a huge Libra, and it has to be simple. It cannot be complicated.
Yes.
And there are so many times that I would read a horoscope or listen to an astrology podcast, and I'm like, what is this opposition square? I don't know what, so and so is being, and I'm like, no, if I'm going to discuss it and talk about it, I'm going to put it down on an earth level, because it's not complicated.
Keep it simple, stupid. Kiss.
Thank you.
Kiss it. Please.
And it's not hard.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I think that too many people, and some of the things that I read, and I have to read it 2 or 3 times because I'm like, what are they even saying? Yeah. What do they mean by this? I don't.
Well, I appreciate that you're being so transparent about that, because I mean, I know I can almost get to tears if I read it. I go deer in headlight mode and get into tears. I step away, then I come back, and then I have to read it again and process it. And I think that I just haven't come back to process the astrology until I found you. And now I'm all in. Well, I'm all in now. And I agree, Linda. It's amazing, the accuracy of Joni's work. I am not joking, Joni. I have been telling everybody.
Well, it's not my work. It's not mine. What happened is I used to just do the clairvoyant clues and psychic clues with cases. And I met a forensic astrologer, a gal that was on YouTube, and she's from Australia, and her name is Kirsty McIntosh. That was years ago. And I thought, I have enough knowledge of astrology. Why don't I combine it? I'll combine it all, and I will learn. Yeah. There are so many offshoots of astrology.
See, I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
I thought it was so rigid. I thought it was I didn't understand there was a gray.
There's a lot of gray.
Yeah.
Tons. Like, you've got your natal chart, what you were born with, if you look at it from a spirituality level, it's what you sat down with and said, this is what I want to come into this incarnation and do. And it actually shows up on your natal chart. It's called the North Node. It's your destiny.
So let's just, Melody, thank you for being here. And I agree. My mind has a hard time processing it as well too. Melody's just saying I zone out, and we'll just sort of catch up a wee bit. Tracy, thank you very much for spending your night with us. And Howie, hello.
Hitman. He's so
hello,
sweet.
Hitman. Yeah.
Well, the main thing is just to learn kind of the basics. If you get started 101 with just the sun sign and just kind of okay, let's take for Leo, for example.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, typical Leo. They are heart. Mm-hmm. A Leo walks into a room and I spot them because the spotlight hits them and they don't even really know it. Mm. They command their presence. They're like magnets. They're like Scorpios. People just are drawn to their energy. Let's call it's energy.
Right.
Because the planets don't cause things to happen. It's the energy.
Gotcha.
The planet doesn't cause you to have a wreck. You have a wreck because you probably were on your phone looking at a text.
Right.
So you just kind of, if you look at it that way and learn the star signs first and then kind of build, you have offshoots. And that's how I got into forensic astrology. Forensic astrology is very easy when you learn the basics of astrology.
I love Scorpios.
Scorpios are I think they're the most understood sign out there. They get a bad rap. And my best friends are Scorpios.
My mom is a Scorpio.
Oh my God, they love their caves. They love their alone time. You will never find a more loyal friend or actually a loyal man in your life than a Scorpio. They're intense, they're passionate, they're psychic, very psychic.
Mm-hmm.
People say Cancer, Cancer psychic, but so are Scorpios. Scorpios just can get a little bit obsessive.
Well, I find like when they're in the shadow side of things, self-loathing, right?
Yes.
There's that level. So I'm just going to catch up here a wee bit with some of the comments.
Okay.
Tracy, I would love a free reading if you ever do free readings. I appreciate you being here. We're not doing readings tonight, but I appreciate you hanging out with us. Michelle, it is actually Michelle's birthday today.
Oh, happy birthday.
As a Pisces, I feel I'd make a great accomplice. I agree.
And that's another part of astrology. On a birthday, you do what's called a solar return. Solar return tells you the theme of the next year. So an astrologer can look at your planets for the next year and you get, that's called a solar return.
Cindy's just asking, I'm a Libra too. What if you don't know your birth time? I was adopted and don't know my time of birth.
We could use noon. You can use noon. And what we look at are rising and moon signs. Okay. Those are the big three. You're going to have your sun sign, your moon sign, and your rising. Through a process of elimination, we can get close to what your time of birth was.
That's good to know.
Yeah, we can get close.
Hi, Julie. Thank you for being here. Julie was my guest last week. So if you missed the episode, you can go into the archives or you can watch it on YouTube on my channel there or on Julie. I think Julie also shared it on her page. If you go to Julie Krause Spiritual Advisor on Facebook, it's there as well too. Julie is just saying my husband is Leo. Me too.
God love him. My son-in-law is a Leo. And my daughter's a Libra. It's a good match. Libra and Leos are good matches.
Cindy's just saying thank you.
Thank you. Oh, so sweet. Now the difference.
Everyone's saying happy birthday to Michelle, which is great.
Happy birthday, Pisces. My son is a Pisces. We've got, they're the dreamers. No boundaries. They're also very psychic. All the water signs are psychic, intuitive. Oh, thank you. So sweet. We love the Rift Nation Network.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. You guys have a lot of good, because Howie's got Howie and Rhonda. Actually, Rhonda was on as well too. So that's another segment that you guys can find in the archives. And I think I'm going to be on their show, the Orion Network, on I think it's March 10th. I will be there, hanging out with you guys on this Sunday.
I love they have a great show on Sundays at 7.
It goes by so fast.
It does.
It goes by really fast.
But on the forensic end, if you're ever listening, and can I kind of share with what happened with you? It's Monday.
Totally up to you. I've only shared it with you and one other person. I kind of kept it on the radar. It took me a couple of days to process it, but I'm okay about talking about it now.
Are you sure? Okay.
Yep.
And if it just happens, for example, we had in the States a little girl that went missing the day after Valentine's Day. Now, some missing persons cases will hit social media and explode. Some don't. I usually do the work of the some don'ts. I'll usually, if a family contacts me or if search and rescue contacts me, if it's a fairly famous case, I will look at it.
Right.
So that's why I was looking at Audrey. That was the little 11-year-old that went missing down in Texas. So we were talking, I didn't have it when we do what's called an event chart. You have natal charts, solar charts. In forensic astrology, you use an event chart. We need the time that the person was last seen, a last text message, if the last time they were spotted on camera now, because everybody here has Ring cameras.
Yeah.
Then you do an astrology chart. It's called an event chart. So we look at what the planets were doing at the time of the actual event, whether it be a kidnapping,
911 call or
911 call, perfect.
Yeah.
Call, and the address where that person was. So when we get that, then when I get that chart, then we go through math, and we add degrees. And that's when I show you the maps on Monday nights where that we can give to search and rescue, where the astrology actually will map out in what are called bearings. Scribble Maps does it. I don't do it. It draws the lines and it will say, in this little wedge, this is where you should look. So I was showing the map.
Are you able to share from here?
I could try to pull up Google Slides. Should you want me to try?
If we hit present down, can you see
Yeah, I can get into my Google Slides. I can show you. I've got some
just
on
the
slides.
one. Yeah, the one we can try.
Or I could show you could I show you on my phone?
Yeah.
I don't know if it would work. I don't want to cut us off.
Well,
I don't
I'll just keep talking and I'll bring it back in, whatever. Hi, Virginia. Thank you for being here.
Okay, I'll show you this on my phone.
Oh, Linda, hang on. Just wait till you see. Okay. So tilt the bottom of your phone towards you. That way.
Okay,
Yeah.
Can you see that?
So you guys, I don't know if you're able to see, but the lines, there's a blue pin. There you go.
How's that?
Yep. Thank you.
Okay, so as a matter of fact, this is Audrey.
That is the one. And
this is the little girl that disappeared.
Yes.
If you can see the star, that's where Audrey was found. The yellow line is one of the planet lines. It was actually the man that had done the actual crime. It was the planet that represented him. That's the planet that went exactly to where Audrey was. If you can see that, where the star is.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing.
Okay. So what happened is we were talking about it. And afterwards, I guess we were talking the next day, or was it that evening?
So what happened was during the show, which I was just listening to you talk. I'm not joking. I'm just emotionally invested. If you got something going on, I'm going to listen to it. I would listen to you read the dictionary, Joni. I really would. So I was listening to Audrey's stuff, and I was getting intuitive hits, and I mean, it's not the first time that stuff's happened for cases like that. So I grabbed a notebook and I just started writing, and then I screenshot it, and then more came through and I screenshot it. So it happened 4 different times, because in my head I kept hearing your word timestamp. So we used the timestamp to map this out on the chart. So I just figured if I had the timestamp, that I'd hang on to it. So the very next morning after your show, so she went missing. The call went in the morning. He was doing his, can we say douchebaggy? Can we get in trouble for that? Is that a bad word to say now? So he was doing his douchebaggy things, trying to frame, and you knew right away he was trying to frame the mom and
the mother.
Hook her in. The whole story is very sad, and smart mom, knew that there was something off and did what she needed to do as a mom to get things moving. So good for her. Anyway, I think it was, so the show was on Monday. So that was, whenever that date was. And the very next day you sent me a text and said they found her, and I sent you, oh my gosh, Joni, I did all of this stuff and I screenshot what I took or what I was feeling, and I sent it to you. And where I was seeing her being found was right where that blue pin is at the top.
And that's where her backpack was. And we were showing that on Monday night.
Yeah.
And you got word down from the backpack.
Yeah.
She was exactly 4 miles, maybe not even that far. She was directly down from the backpack. That's the download that you got.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
All the information she gave about how her body would be found and how separate everything was exactly like what ended up happening was exactly what she was showing me during the episode when we were talking about her.
It was crazy. And, those are the kind of cases that I think it's the best way to learn is to go back, look at the chart. Now, the actual chart that looks like a natal chart, just like a normal natal chart.
And a natal chart tells us about our birth planets. Okay.
Correct. But the event chart on forensic astrology, for example, the end of the matter is the 4th house in astrology. That was in Cancer. She was in water. Yeah. When I see Cancer, I know the person is probably in water.
Right.
Saturn represents body. Pluto represents chaos or DEATH. So there are many different things that the planets tell us in a chart in forensic astrology.
So if you were interested in doing forensic astrology or understanding more, like starting with those, understanding what the planets represent would be a good place to start?
I would say get basic astrology down, just a normal basic astrology. You don't have to know it inside and out, but you have to know some of the characteristics of the certain signs, like all water signs. You just a little bit. You don't have to be a scholar. Then Kirsty McIntosh, she's from Australia. She is the best forensic astrologer in the world, actually. And she is on YouTube. She has a book that her book is in my purse at all times.
Wow.
And she is the best. She will teach, and she offers herself to everybody. She has taught me everything that I am able to teach other people or to work with people. And, forensic astrology is tough. And like you say, there are ethical things that come along with it.
Mm-hmm.
I only work with families or search and rescue groups, or even if law enforcement. But like I said, if it's a famous case, I will do it. If not, I think it's an invasion.
Well, this is it. And it's about, it's not about you. It's not about your ability and making it about you. And I know, I was going to ask you about this. Because it was actually one of the questions I wrote down, because I know that I can go scroll on Red Bull and sideways and forget to ask certain things. So I knew that was probably going to freaking happen. Right. I wrote down needing more facts that can be charted in order to get more insight on the case. So as it unfolds and you get more information, you create another chart. So it's more than just one chart. It could be multiple charts in order to understand the whole case. And I feel that sometimes people are not found until they are meant to be found, because there's other things that have to be in play for whatever reason that is, right? Like, I know I
believe that wholeheartedly.
I did a group event, it's like a group gallery event in somebody's home, and I get everybody in a circle and I'm passing them off. Boom, 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 boom. Here's all your people. Here's who's behind you, all these messages. And then I got to this family, and it was someone that got unalived by at the hand of somebody else. And then it was the same thing, kind of like what happened on Monday. And it was all very accurate, 100% accurate. And then they went looking again and still, didn't find that person. So, and it's been a long time, but everything was right, but that not found. So I think sometimes if they're meant to be found, they're going to be found, or other things have to come and play until that happens, which is gutting. It's heart-wrenching.
It's heart-wrenching because the families never leaves them.
No,
there's no closure. It's always with them. And that's what I always see with families. It's always the same thing. It never leaves them. They learn to cope. They learn to deal with it. They can help others, but it never leaves.
And making sure, like, if you are intuitive and getting information that, like, I gave it to you. So I showed you, because that was my safe place. I'm not involved. I don't need to insert myself into any of this. And it was, it was for you. It was between, holy shit. So, oh goodness. Like, so I'm going to be careful about when I'm watching now, but I'll send it to you. And then if it needs to go, you'll know what you need to do with it. That's how I looked at it. But I mean, we can't devastate people who are all like, devastate them more. They're already devastated. Yes. We do not need to add more salt and get in the way of the people who are responsible for trying to solve it and for helping them. Are we helping or hurting? And we need to always be mindful of that.
And I think with true crime and social media really helps. It helps to find people, but then it can also be a very damaging tool as well, because the families initially are attacked. And sometimes I think people mean well, they don't understand it. But you have to know when you do things like forensic astrology, or even with psychic clues, or tarot or anything, be very conscious that there is a family out there. And I never forget that.
Yeah.
I never forget that. Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah. Linda is just saying thank you for always being so ethical. Actually, Joni, Linda and you are very similar in personality and how you approach things.
Well, that's sweet. Thank you. But if you're interested in getting involved with forensic astrology, tune in on Mondays, because I hope I do it slow to where it can be understood. And I love when the clairvoyants tune in, because it just adds. It helps.
I don't quite understand the question.
I don't know.
Hey, how long have y'all been dressing up as women?
Mars and Venus are
is there a
acting
gender
today.
Oh, we're just gonna move you on there, buddy.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I relate as a woman.
Right?
My entire life.
We're just gonna delete some of that. Holy cow.
There's some weird things going on.
Stephen is saying, I don't help with cases anymore. They start looking at you as a suspect when you tell them where the bodies are. Well, I've not had that happen to me specifically, but I think at the time my kids were smaller. I've been a single mom forever. So it weighed a lot on me emotionally when I was, in charge of my own little people and all those big emotions.
That's hard. I mean, that would be very hard and difficult. Because I guess they could, I've never had that happen to me, but like I said, I'm pretty selective on who I do what and who with.
Yeah. Which is why I sent the screenshots of what I was getting to you because I knew that it was a safe place and you would know what
very
to do with
safe.
that, right?
And it's very
Agreed, Keith. Agreed. Thanks for being
Keith
here.
is probably on one of his fake accounts doing that, thinking he's
Did you just like toss him under the bus and let everybody know about his fake account? That's because Howie's trying to like auction him off.
Yeah. We were going to start a dating site for
please.
astrology dating site.
I think that really.
Yeah. Do you think that would be fun?
Keith is saying I got question once. I don't know if it would be. Dating is exhausting.
Dating is exhausting in and of itself. But if we did it with astrology, it might be fun.
That was funny.
Keith and I laugh. I vent to Keith and he's like, oh, the psycho Libra is coming up. I just like I'm texting like a lunatic.
Oh, and I mean, I don't want to go down the rabbit hole of dating too much. I want to really get as much as we can talking about forensic astrology. We need one for Keith. We need to get
But I think as far as if you're interested in forensic astrology, look up Kirsty's YouTube videos, Kirsty McIntosh on YouTube. She's got them from beginning on tutorials. She has a lot of her cases on there, and she has a book. That's where I really got started and blossomed out with it, because her method is spot on. We find people. We legitimately find people. And
you're following like her
yes,
her guidance and how she maps things out and does things. And
yes.
And that's what I found. Like I watched that first segment, then I watched the follow-up the next, and you do a follow-up the week after, and something that's new. So that's sort of how you unfold your show. And it was it starts with a D. The the trial's still going on, and
Doulos
case. Yes. And you were like,
yes,
up here near where there's like an airport or something's going to be this way,
right,
and this is going to be this way, and this is where they found the truck. And it was the next week when you did the follow-up, it was like ping, 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 right where you said, they were going to find that. I was
Kirsty's
like, holy
method,
cow.
It is, anymore, it's like 99%. And if the other 1%, it's because they have the wrong timestamp or I've heard the wrong information. Because if you follow the astrology, you follow like her pattern and the degrees that she uses, and it's not difficult, you find people.
And using more than one chart, that's I think what I really learned too, right? Like it doesn't, depending on what information you have, and as more information comes out, mapping it again, and
yes,
how that unfolds.
Yes, wild. But you will know pretty quick into the game if you've got a good chart, if you've got an accurate chart. And then if they do find somebody, you can go back and look at it and say, well, what did I do wrong? Or why is it going this way or that way? It's a great learning tool. Astrology is looking at past history.
Right. So that's what I'd like. That's something else that you have mentioned before that I just appreciated hearing. Because when I'm working on like for a session or intuitively, and someone will ask, why don't I have a partner? Like, why don't I have that girlfriend? Or why don't I have that boyfriend? Loved ones come through in spirit and show me what happened back here. And every time. So I'm always looking where the most amount of healing needs to take place. So I'm seeing where blocks have started, whether they've been projected or created, and where we need to move things in order to allow what they have potentially to come forward for you, right? So I just appreciate hearing from you, like the past helps us and how you approach that.
Isn't that amazing how, for example, like Saturn, let's take Saturn. Saturn is karma. It's what we gain, the wisdom that we gain from the karma. If we don't either fight through it, fix it, like you say, in the past, go through it, it will repeat. Karma repeats, and then you accumulate or you come down with it. But until you get rid of it, you're going to continue with the lesson. It's all a big classroom.
Yeah, it's like a big theater. It's a big theater. We're all playing a role. Donna Jean is just sharing, I'm always heartsick when I hear of kids and animals die at someone else's hands, which makes it hard for me to accept the adage that everything happens for a reason. So that was something too, when you were looking at her chart, the case from little Audrey's chart, I think it was Audrey's chart, you were saying like, look at where these are all lining up.
That was...
Or is that a different case?
That was another case. That was a little case that happened here that the father, the trial was...
Oh, yes.
He was convicted yesterday. He was charged. The jury found him guilty. And I thought, I'm going to pull up her natal chart. I'm going to look on the day that they claimed in the court transcripts that her unalive occurred.
Right.
It was all over her natal chart. That's the one that we were talking about, harmony. And
the harmony, that's right.
And you're right. It makes me think, was she destined to come in here? She had in astrology what we call a finger of God. It's called a yod, finger of God. It's not common. She had 2 of them in her natal chart. Was she destined to come here to be unalived? You know, those are answers we don't know. We don't know the answers to that.
Sorry, I'm just going to catch up on some of these. Sorry.
Sure, dude,
Michelle,
that's fine. You're fine, hon.
Michelle is just saying, I'm trying to understand my chart as it is now. I had no idea that it could be used for so much more. Yes, right?
Yes.
It is fascinating.
Yes.
I agree, Keith. It's absolutely amazing how accurate. Muriel, is just commenting the yod would probably tell.
Yes. Finger of God.
And it's for as hard as some of that is to accept, that there's so many things that come from that, you know, people that take on that do advocacy afterwards and create support systems, and you know, so many different things can happen from it.
A lot of positives do come out of the horrific things that do happen, you know.
Yeah, it was very sad, Kerrilynn. I agree.
It was horrific. That trial was horrific. And I actually, Kerrilynn, watched the Harmony Montgomery trial because I wanted timestamps. They have never found the little one.
Right. Oh, thank you, Howie.
Hitman. You know, the Harmony Montgomery case, if nobody has ever looked into it, I'm working on that now.
That was what Kerrilynn was asking. Can we use her chart to find her?
Yes. Kerrilynn, if I know you were watching it, but remember when they gave us places to look in the marshy area and the tolls, they caught him going down through the toll booths and up, timestamp. But I didn't have that area. So that's my weekend. I'm going to work on Harmony. I want them to find that little one. It's been 5 years. Wow.
So I'll go back and watch that episode. If I get anything, I will send it to you privately as well too. Tammy, I'm glad that you have the link. You don't need to send it to me privately. If you want, you can send it to me privately and I can post it on my social media as well too. But if you stick it in the chats for people to see here, that would be great as well. Thank you. And that's for the fundraiser.
That's
for Kathy,
for the fundraiser,
right?
For Kathy.
Yeah.
her daughter, Valerie, is still missing. We're still searching for her. So we're a family. We're a tribe.
Yeah, that's what I said. You really do get to meet these people and like-minded with the same intention, right?
And like I said, they've also had the devastation in their families, so they know how to relate. It's wonderful. I just worship them. I'm so grateful. Yeah, that bridge, Kathy. We are a tribe.
Yeah.
I hope I kind of shed a little light on forensic astrology. I hope I did.
Oh, well, we still got lots of time, and I got lots of questions still.
Oh, okay. Good.
Because we are longer than an hour show. We're like an hour and 45. So
perfect.
That's why I was not worried. I knew that we could go squirrel on Red Bull, and we could go sideways if we wanted to.
Perfect.
Joanne is just sharing the work you do as a gift in so many ways to so many people. When you, because you know what I found interesting? Oh, can you hear me still?
Yeah.
We just lost. Hang on one second. Squirrel and Red Bull. There we go.
Squirreling, a Leo squirreling.
I need to sit still.
You can't.
The Murdoch trial. And
yes.
when you did the update on that did not shock me, because that was stuff I was picking up as well too about the reporter that was it was not the news reporter. What was her role? She wrote a book.
The clerk, the clerk lady, where she was accused of tampering with the jury.
Yes.
That was crazy.
Yeah. And I kind of I knew as soon as I saw her book come out that there was something.
She wanted to sell her book.
Yeah.
She was giving rides to the jurors. You can't commingle with jurors.
No. Tammy's teasing you. She said, I'm glad, because I was trying to get away with a 15-minute show and we waited all week to see her. I agree. I look forward to Mondays.
She's like, oh, it's over. I'm like,
and we get double Joni when she goes from her show on to Keith's, and she's on the Otter's Den afterwards.
That's so funny. She does do that. She's so funny.
I think it feels like it would be so overwhelming, and so people avoid it, right? Like we avoid it if it's going to be hard. Most of us do that sort of stuff if it looks hard. That's how I looked at, like, when the very first time I was watching the show and I saw that chart and I'm seeing these lines going all over and your little notes off to the side. It just looked daunting at first, right?
Well, I'm pretty messy, so I will take a chart and I just write all over it. I'm not very, where I should probably do a little bit more organized and type in what it is, but I just write it.
No, I appreciate seeing it that way. That's how I am too. Like, I do not lend my books out, and I do not borrow books from people, because I highlight, I underline, I write notes on the side. And I love my books to death. So, and when I write notes, I'm the same as you. It's up here, over here, all over the place. But seeing that it just made me more in awe of what you do.
Well, I think it's almost like they're more intimidating to look at than they really are. Because in a forensic event, what we call the event chart, we look at a couple of things. We have a planet that signifies the victim, one that signifies the perp. Like the rising sign on a chart is the victim. The descendant, which is across from the victim, is the perp. So that planet so we look to see where the perp is.
And then those planets, if you're understanding what those signs mean attached to those planets, gives you an idea of what that person would be like.
It can, yes, it can give descriptions. The sun, for example, is usually an older male. The sun on Audrey's chart came up a lot. He was an older male. So there are very specific things. Mars usually denotes some kind of violence, or it can be a weapon. But, you know, Mars is the god of war. So you've got different things with different meanings of the planets. Uranus, it can mean a place like near an airport,
right?
Electrical towers. So if you're searching, it could be, let's look by an airport. So there's different things.
Wild.
It's wild. It's scary accurate.
Yes, it's gobsmacking. Like that's the word that I use. It is very interesting, Michelle. I agree. Do you get, so you do get approached though, right? Have you not? Yeah. And then the ones that interest you, you know, the ones like the Murdoch case or things that are a little more in the public are ones that you will use on your show, or does it?
I use the more public cases that way as almost like a teaching tool. Like
Audrey's
it has case, been. You know, Audrey's case is like a teaching tool because everything that I used, law enforcement had already put it out there.
Right.
You know, because a lot of cases, especially if a family contacts you, there's information that they don't want out.
Yes, I know.
You know, so, you know, a lot of the cases don't even get shown because they just don't want them out. And that's fine. But yeah, you do get approached. And search and rescue groups do use forensic astrologers. But they use a lot. They use a lot of different things. They use the dowsing rods too.
So I love dowsing rods. I was joking around last week, like my friend was saying, you know, she was trying to find her glasses using her pendulum. And I'm like, I use my dowsing rods to find my glasses, my keys, my phone at least 5 times a week. I love my dowsing rods.
Mine would be, and there is a part of astrology called horary, Horary, horary astrology, where you find missing objects as well. For example,
really?
Yes, it can find that. It's not a big study of mine, but you find that I found a lot of keys that way.
That's awesome.
Like
I wrote that's a word that I would trip over.
I always trip over it. I just spell it horary. But like if it's around like Pluto, you're thinking, okay, it's down, dark. It's in a dark place.
Can you use dowsing rods to find more time in the day? No.
Oh, crap. I hear you.
Some days I just want the day to be done. I don't need more time. I'm just ready for the day to be done.
Yeah. I love dowsing rods. I don't know how they work, but I think they're so cool.
Yeah, but is it not with electromagnetic energies as well too? It's just using energies. I don't really know. I know
that's kind of like astrology. We don't know how they work. They just work.
They just do. And that's it. I don't need to know the how. I just trust that it works and I roll with it. Keith is just saying, I love my rods too.
Well, I think that's where you can get caught up in astrology, is that it's too intimidating. It can be intimidating.
Thank you very much, Linda. I hope that your class goes well. Thanks for being here. And I appreciate the support.
She's such a sweetheart. And her group, A Place of Solace, for anybody that's lost a loved one, it's a private Facebook group, Place of Solace.
Jennifer is just saying I had a hard time connecting with my dowsing rod so far. So it may not be the right time, like other things may be working for you. So you use what is working for you until that other muscle feels like it's time or develops, right?
Right. And don't you think too, if you're not connecting with something, it's like, this is not my thing, and maybe
Yeah.
try to find something else, right?
Yeah. And that's okay,
Yeah.
like we're all different and at different places. I think sometimes too, depending on where we're at with our own personal healing and our own personal accountability will affect, what tools we're using or how much information we're receiving until we shift to that next level.
I think I would like have those rods. I would just be like running into things and knocking things over with them.
I forget a bobber. So it's like a bobber, so copper rod. It's got a little spiral and then like a heavy, stone or something on the end. Sometimes that's super fun too. And I've used just like a stick from outside that's got a little bit of a wang to it, and then put like a skull. I put a skull crystal on the end of it. It was in the shape of a skull. It was a howlite skull on the end of this, like, and I used that as a bobber, and it was finding all kinds of stuff that,
See?
I think it's whatever you want to use. You put your intention, ask your team to work with you, and it's going to work. Linda's just saying not always the right tool for you. I agree.
Right. I agree too. And I mean, it's like, and anything you put and you notice anything you put your energy into, that's where things in your life will explode.
Yeah. Yes. Where your thoughts go, energy goes, right?
Absolutely. And that's, like I said, that's how planets are. That's how the energy of astrology is.
No, I had no idea.
Yeah, you don't, because
did not have any clue.
I think astrology, some astrologers, when you say, well, Saturn did it, or Pluto did it, or Mercury retrograde did it, you're not holding yourself accountable.
Thank you.
And that's not how it works.
Yeah. And that was what a comment that I had written down that I wanted to talk to you about. Like, I think part of why I've shied away from astrology is it frustrates me when I hear people using that as an excuse for behaviors, right? Like hiding behind astrology, or like Mercury retrograde. Everyone says like they blame Mercury retrograde for everything, and I'm like, for the most part, I've soar through retrogrades and don't even realize it's happening.
You don't. But again, you cannot use it as a crutch. You have to hold yourself accountable, or energy is just neutral if it sits there. Yeah. Depending on, just knowing the energy and what to do with it. But like I said, the planets it can affect the collective behavior. For example, last week, maybe Mars and Pluto were together. So all week I kept saying, just watch your surroundings. Things can go bad very quickly with this energy.
Yeah. I remember you and Keith talking about that on the Otter's Den. Yeah.
Yes. So if you're around people that don't understand energy or know how it works, you can be in a crowd and everything can bust loose. But if you know that ahead of time, you'll know, hey, you know what? You see something unfolding, you stand back or you get out. That's how you let that energy work in your favor. Yeah. But you can't blame the planets. They didn't do it. You did it. You did it.
Yeah, yeah. The engagement, right? You get to choose. And I say that all the time. Like, your thoughts, words, deeds, and actions matter. So having that pause before doing any of that, and it all of that matters. Can't blame the planets on it all.
The cool thing with forensic astrology, I think why I gravitated toward it, because I loved true crime. But, when you use clairvoyance or the clues, I was always doubting myself so much until the clues would hit. I thought, this is so difficult to do on a weekly basis. Why not just incorporate it with the astrology then I've just gone 100% to the astrology because of the accuracy.
So did that clairvoyant muscle get louder with the astrology?
Sometimes, not really. No.
No.
It's more because astrology has that scientific edge to it, to where the clairvoyancy is pretty. It's what I hear or what I write down. As to where astrology, it's this way or no other way. It's pretty scientific.
Right.
That makes sense. There's no room for, Mercury is communications. It's a phone, or it could be a car, or it could be this. It can't be anything else. To where clairvoyancy could be, a red sign.
Right.
Or a water. Or
I guess it was more like if you get extra on top of what the chart is saying to you.
Yes.
As you're doing it.
Yes, I do cheat. Sometimes I do cheat. Yes,
that's not cheating, though.
Yeah, well, it's kind of. Yeah,
why? How?
Okay,
I'm going to share Linda's comment first, and then I want you to tell me.
Okay.
So Linda is just saying it's the same as people expecting the universe to fix everything or bring things to them. It doesn't work that way, right? Sometimes we have to make room for the new to come, or we have to take an action when we're prompted. We have to also take action.
Well, it's like you said in readings, the ancestors will be like, and you will be shown, hey, look, this is kind of what you did or came here with.
Yeah.
Get over it and let things new in.
Yeah. Okay. Tell me why you think that that's cheating.
Well, because it's like, well, should I look this up or no, so yeah, I do use it. It does pop in.
Exactly.
Yeah, it does pop in. Because I'm clairaudient, so I hear.
Yeah. Yeah. So when you hear, do you hear, because I'm clairaudient as well too, do you hear inside ear and outside ear or both?
Inside
ear.
Inside. Yeah, for sure.
Because people always will ask if that inside voice, if that intuitive voice sounds like your own voice, like everyone wants to not pay attention because they're expecting the big booming voice.
No, it's not a big booming voice. It's a little tiny one word.
Yeah. That sounds like your own voice in your head.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. But I think learning to decipher what your subconscious and your higher conscious is saying, you have to differ between the two. That's tough. That's not easy to learn. And I think it's very individualistic.
Yeah, discernment is really, but discernment is so important to learn. It's having that discernment is so important, and it helps you understand if you're working from like the Chihuahua brain, that ego center, or from like your heart center. Yeah, which it is, but yeah. I try to encourage people, like, takes 2 weeks, right? Takes 2 weeks to start that pattern. But what I tell everybody is start your day with gratitude, put your hand over your heart so you're not in the Chihuahua brain, and ask your spirit, what do you need today? And you try doing that every day for 2 weeks. So anybody that's listening, you try and then let me know in 2 weeks how it rolls for you. Because usually by the end of the 2 weeks, when you ask, what do you need today? What does my spirit need today? You'll hear or feel or know the answer before you're done asking the question. And then you'll have more confidence and clarity with what your personal intuitive voice sounds like. And then it will help you have that discernment.
And I agree, before my feet hit the floor every morning.
Yes.
Is gratitude.
Yes.
Every day, driving home at night. I mean, gratitude.
Yeah.
Even if it's just thank you for look at how pretty it is out today, or
that I get to hang with you.
Oh, God love you.
I am so grateful. I'm grateful for Howie getting the ball rolling. Like this little network of people like Keith and Rhonda and Howie, just all of you. It's just been great. Jennifer's just sharing, I heard someone say hello to me this week. Can't tell you if it was inside or outside.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, very exciting. Exactly. Thank you, Spirit, for
Yes.
another day. And I've always too, like, when my kids were small, I mean, my oldest is 30 now, so they're still kids though, but
Yeah, they're always babies.
right. So when they were younger, I would get them to thank Spirit for the gifts that they were going to receive throughout the day. And then at the end of the day, ask them what they received. So tell me what you're
See,
grateful for. So it gave them a focus on little things, being grateful for all those little things that happen throughout the day. So, yeah, it's important to notice little things.
oh, it's always the little things. And like you say, if I'm looking at a chart, yes, things do come in. And then you're like, okay, well, I'll just write that over off to the side. It's like a side clue.
Right.
And I'll look in the chart because you look things up. Like 2 planets can mean backpack. Venus can mean a purse or a backpack. So in Audrey's file, I looked for Venus because the backpack was so big
Right.
in the chart. And so those are little things that you think, okay, backpack, where would it be? Or you'll hear backpack or purse. So
Right.
the two are, it's a great combination.
See, I could just listen to you talk about it all day.
Well, it's my passion. I love it. I do nothing else. It's an obsession. It's pretty sick.
No, it's not. I love it. I'm one of those people that will listen to true crime and fall asleep and be okay. Like serial killers, murders.
Yeah, they don't.
Bring it on.
Now, a thing with the serial killers thing. This is a story from. It's just a story, but it's pretty interesting. But for Claire, because you're a medium, serial people, or yes, I guess serial crime people have a different energy.
Mm-hmm.
And I know this sounds crazy to say it, but I think they're clairvoyant. I think they're very in tune because they know when you're getting into their space.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to be very careful if you're working a case where there could be serial people involved.
Mm-hmm.
I know it sounds crazy, but
No, it doesn't. I agree with you 100%.
okay, I'm glad you do.
Even like understanding sending energy out or toss an energy back at somebody, like you have
Yes.
to be mindful when somebody where they are at and how that they can pick up on it, feel you in their space as
Yes,
well too.
they do.
I agree.
They do. They know it. And you have to be very, very careful of that.
Mm-hmm.
Because then when they know you're in their space, when they know that you're there, they know they could possibly get caught. So you have to be very mindful of what you're doing when you're doing true crime because it is real life. And you kind of forget that sometimes.
Yeah, I think when you're so caught up in what you think the end goal or what you feel that end goal is, you can forget. I'm super mindful of it all the time.
And I think you learn to do that when you work with true crime because you have to remember there are a lot of people out there that are free and they love their freedom. They don't want to get caught.
Yeah.
So you got to be careful.
I have more that I want to say about that in a second. I just want to make sure that I respond to this so it doesn't get lost in here.
Go ahead.
Donna Jean is just asking again. I think this is from Linda's. You had mentioned it. I think I could type it in here. I don't know. We're going to try.
Oh.
I think it was Linda's group. Was it not?
Yes.
Okay.
It's a place of solace, SOLACE, and it's Linda Nelson, a place of solace. And like I said, she lost her granddaughter. She's got a safe place, a safe space for people to go and chat. And she also does Zoom calls. So she has a really tight good group where they just chat, especially around the holidays. You know? So it's wonderful.
Holidays are very hard all the firsts.
They are hard. They are hard.
Where was I going? Okay, squirrel, foggy brain. When we were talking about people being able to feel our intention or feel our energy if we're in their space when we're doing that work, and being able to toss back, that's so true. It's so true. And so if you were doing, or when you do astrology work, like some people are very clear with their structure when they're opening up intuitively, protection, energetic protection, or clearing it off at the end of the day, or clearing off after a session. Do you have anything like that you do?
No. I mean, I do, if I do a psychic fair and I'm reading, if I'm doing readings all day, or if I'm going to do a reading, I will certainly do that. But astrology, I don't. It's more, you have to, it's math, it's scientific. So you're not going into that outer place. It's hard to describe that place where you lift above. You go to that above place to gain your energy. With astrology, you have to be very grounded because you're working with numbers and very detail oriented. So it's two different consciousnesses. Is that a word? Consciousnesses?
Sure.
Maybe it's too different. It's got, you've got your, like, for example, if I want to go out and get clairvoyant clues, I'll listen to music and I'll blast everything out of my mind.
Right.
And that's when you go to that place.
Right.
But astrology, you have to be very grounded because it's scientific. It's math.
Right. Right. Which is why I said, like, I saw your map and the math and went, oh, I failed grade 9, 10, 11. Had to repeat. Thank you, Mr. Palumbo, for being so kind with me. Because I'd hold my breath and go, oh, no.
I hate it. But the computer does a lot of it. But you still have to be accurate with your drawings, or you have to know what you're, so you have to be a lot more grounded with the astrology.
Yeah.
Linda's right. 2 different levels of consciousness. Yes, it's 2 different places.
Sometimes, Joni, I can go from here, like pull up. It just takes a breath. I am not even joking. It takes a breath for me, and I can feel that breath move up to my third eye. My crown goes, whoa, and down my spine and up and away I go. It's really like that. I am a freak. So as fast as that goes. So sometimes if I know like what I'm going to be doing is going to be pulling me really, really high for any length of time, and I still, like, it's not that I don't know how to be grounded, but sometimes I need that extra help in staying grounded and open at the same time in order to do the work that I'm doing. I take that it horrifies everybody. So if you do sound therapy, you can email me and I will take the backlash gently.
Okay.
This big crystal singing bowl, and I'll put salt in the warm water. So then when I'm doing my work, I've got my feet inside my sound, my crystal bowl with the salt, so that I can stay grounded and open and then do the work that I'm needing to do.
See, isn't that cool? Mm-hmm. So you can be like half in and half out, like half and half.
Mm-hmm. But it's here, because then what I find, like when you said, like, you pull up with music, you can feel that coming down. Like I get cold shivers and everything. Cold chills. Yeah.
And that's the beauty of if you do use clairvoyance, is there are little cheaty things like cold chills or the metal taste in your mouth. Goosebumps and like you can have the hair stand on the back of your neck, so it's really, I think if you practice with clairvoyance and try to open up, it's so personal that when you find it, Like you use the bowl.
Well, sometimes I do.
Yeah.
Sometimes I know I need to, because where
Yeah.
I'm going to go is going to be a lot. For the most part, I can even just envision that spiral coming out from the bottom of my foot and going out, so I can feel it happening for the most part. But sometimes the work that you're doing is just so big, like, and that's what I wondered, like when you're working on a chart, does it feel like a hum? Like, oh yeah, we're on to something. You can feel like it's going to be hitting.
Yes, I do.
Hit.
I do know. I guess that would be intuitively, like I told you earlier, if I know when the chart's going to hit. They almost talk to me.
Yes, that's what I wondered.
Yes, they do. So I know if it was a bad time or a good time. I pretty well, but I think that's a lot of that's with doing it so much too. It could be intuitive.
Right.
You know when that's going to hit. You know when you know that map is going to find somebody, you know it. Know it. It's neat stuff.
It's very cool. If anybody is just joining us now in the chat, or just tuning in, you are listening to Spirit Switchboard. I'm your host, Kerrilynn Shellhorn, and you are listening to us live on 105.3 and 107.7 New Orleans. Thank you for being here. We have Joni Templeton Skinner, who does forensic astrology. She has a show on Monday evenings with the Riff Nation called True Crime Mysteries Behind the Veil. And are you on the Otter's Den every week as well too? Because Keith Ottersberg has his show, the Otter's Den, right after your show. So you guys also do astrology for the week.
Keith and I are every other Monday.
Every other Monday.
So it'll be not this Monday, but the following Monday.
Gotcha.
And Keith and I just talk about what's ahead astrologically, like for the week. And then you have another shoot of astrology, which is called mundane astrology, world events. What's going on in like the United States' chart, so we do a lot of mundane astrology.
I still find all of it fascinating. It's all of it. It's just all.
Astrology is fascinating. It's very scary accurate.
Leslie's just asking, is that kind of like when you have a dream about someone and you feel compelled to tell them what Joni was explaining? You mean as far as not sharing or knowing when to share, having discernment? I'm sorry, Leslie, can you expand a little bit so we can? I just want to make sure that we're approaching that question correctly.
Right. And the thing with astrology as well is there's a misconception that astrology can predict the future. It cannot.
Okay. I needed to hear that.
It cannot. What we do, this is what astrologers do. I'll give you an example. The United States is going through what is called a Pluto return, where Pluto comes around every 200 and some odd years. How did we think what's going to happen in the United States during the Pluto return? We go back into history. And astrology is very well documented. So when the Pluto return happened in Babylon fell. Rome fell. London, what happened in London? So astrologers go back and look at past patterns to say, this is what's happened in the past. I'm not guaranteeing it, but this is what could occur.
Right.
So that's where people have a misconception of, astrology is evil because it's a prediction tool. No, you look at patterns.
But I've had an astrology reading done once. And it was like an intuitive reading more than astrology is from my perspective at that time. So I think for me shutting that down, and now I'm learning you'd have to use your discernment, because it would just be no different than reaching out for a psychic or a medium or anybody else.
Yes.
There's going to be people with their own intention and their own swing to things, because, pretty much, I mean, accurate with certain things from the past, but as they went way on, like I was going to be having a partner and married and an international television show, and yeah. We're gonna have to wait. You'll have to get me on the same astrology dating site as Keith.
Yeah, good luck.
We'll have to do but I was thinking when the auction thing wasn't a bad idea. They could auction date night with us for charity, and we send it to the charity. We just take somebody out for dinner, and not necessarily a date, but we're doing it for charity.
But if we auction Keith and somebody lives like in Atlanta or Canada, how is Keith going to go out on the date? Do they have to go to?
I don't know. I guess
see
Zoom it. That's what we've been doing for the last 5 years.
we could have a Zoom dinner with Keith, like Taco Bell with Keith.
Oh my gosh, Taco Bell. Arby's, goopy cheese. Any place that's got some goopy cheese, sign me up.
I think we should auction off Keith for the reward money, like a 30-minute dinner date. Taco Bell.
Wait, we have another scroll moment.
I think that would be great.
Hang on, I got all excited talking about goopy cheese.
See, we could do that with Keith. I think that would be great.
Taco Bell with Keith.
Taco Bell with Keith via Zoom, 30 minutes. And we could auction him.
It goes to charity. Keith, how do you say no to that?
Yeah, Keith, we could do 3 raffles for $5. Keith is a Scorpio. He will go alone. I thought he left.
No.
Keith, is there a Taco Bell? Is there a Taco Bell close to you, Keith?
Okay. Yes, you know what, Leslie, I agree. But if the show is coming, then maybe a partner's coming too, and I need to be open-minded. But it was just the way that they had planned that out. It was like by 2009, all this stuff was supposed to be.
Well, and you can see that in a chart, a natal chart, where their strengths are, where their weaknesses are, where things could evolve, but that person has to go and get it.
Well, so, that's what I was thinking too. Like when, psychics can't, we can feel. So I do both, like psychic medium, right? And I tell people, for me, when I see things, it's like choose your own adventure story, and I'm seeing potential outcomes all the way, and I lean into the one that feels the brightest and comes out at me 3D. But depending on where you are with your personal healing, you may not tune into all of the paths really clearly. It may sound like a teacher from Charlie Brown. So they give you something that doesn't end up happening, right? Because of where they're at. Not trying to toot my own horn, but that's how I see that. And lots of people. But he says 26 miles south of here. Taco Bell.
Okay, well, maybe we could do McDonald's then. If Taco Bell's 20-something miles from him. We could do 30 minutes with Keith at McDonald's.
Tarot reading. It's what's possible. Depends on us and our choices. Exactly.
Absolutely. Same with astrology. When I was a young girl and my mom had my natal chart done, and of course a Libra, that's the house of partnerships. They're all in my 7th house of partnerships, marriages. And the astrologer said to Mom, I hope these aren't all marriages. Okay, because that's what my chart represented. Well, yeah, it happened, but that was my choice to marry 4 different people. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
But that's what was laid out. No.
Interesting. Julie Krause spiritual advisor. You please go to her Facebook page and you can look up the archive from the show that we did last week with Spirit Switchboard. She's just sharing. My grandmother was a professional astrologist, and it was so much info that I got turned off. So I'm fascinated by those who know so much about this topic. I agree. Like I kind of look like a deer in headlights. That's why I'm in awe of you. But the way that you share your passion gives us just enough information that we're learning. So those of us who would have shut it off, or I'm open to it way more now than what I was before, because I'm still learning in a way that's easy for me to process. I just got thrown off a little bit when Audrey showed up for me last week, but
I think too, though, I think that sometimes it's like talking to a lawyer when they talk legal terminology, and it's almost like it's intimidating, you know?
Oh, sorry, Michelle. I was trying to find this. What show do you do the World Astrology on, or when rather? Okay.
Usually on the Otter's Den every other Monday. Right. So it won't be this Monday. It'll be the Otter's Den next Monday. So
on the Rift Nation Network.
Correct. The Otter's Den. And we do, you know, like we looked at Israel, we looked at Ukraine, we look at all of, and every country has a birth chart. Just like we all have natal charts, countries also go through, you know, transits and natal charts.
Mariel's just saying, and won't the U.S. Pluto return this year line up with the last time in Aquarius when the Declaration of Independence, 1776?
Yes. Yes, very much so. And what happened is Pluto is the planet of transformation. It's like the phoenix bird. It will tear down and then build back. So in the United States chart since 2008, Pluto has been in Capricorn, which is structures, government, top down, government, the old guard. Recently, Pluto moved into Aquarius in the United States chart. It's rebellion. It's freedom. It's the collective. And it's hitting the media. So we're watching the media getting turned upside down and tousled and transformed in the United States as we speak.
Mm-hmm. Joanne is just asking, I had my chart done at my first Saturn return. It was very informative.
Okay, what a Saturn return is. Saturn takes about, I'll show you. Like you have it like a natal chart. I always have them around. Okay, so that's what a chart looks like. Saturn goes around the wheel every 30 years. So when you hear people say Saturn return, it goes through every single house of the zodiac. And on the return, it's like the karmic return. So at around 30, 29, 30, 31, we take a look at our lives. What did you learn? What lessons did we accomplish? So Saturn returns are tough. They can be tough. They can kick your butt.
Yes, it did.
If you think back to like 30 or 29, that's not an easy time in your life.
No, it wasn't. Linda, I knew you guys would hit it off, actually, if you guys connect. Linda was also on my show. So if you, she's got a podcast that will be coming out shortly, we're hoping. And you can follow her website, or her Facebook page is called Pachamama. She makes wonderful natural products as well too, and she is also intuitive. Linda's Monsters Be Gone, energy clearing spray, liquid smudge, all of that stuff is fabulous. She also has a wonderful cream called Obliterate, which is a wonderful pain cream.
I need Obliterate.
She is pretty fabulous as well. So she is just sharing, Joni, you're fascinating and so relatable. I could listen to you for days. Do you do charts for people in general or only true crime? If you look at the little ticker at the bottom, her website is astrologymeetstruecrime.com, and you can see all the things that she offers there. Now I'll let you, sorry, I just interjected a bit there, but you can let her know what you do.
No, it's the brand new website. So if there are some glitches, but it's got all kinds of information. Glitches. Keep the Libra out of the lab. Keep the Libra off the nuclear codes. Keith, diffuse and X be gone. Spray.
I would,
Keith.
I would say yes.
Keith.
Sorry, Keith. I did see this. Let me come back up. There we go. And it's okay. I know you commented. Sorry, I just threw that out. It's okay that you just threw that out. Do suggestions really work in self-healing? Do you mean what kind of suggestions? Like meditation, hypnosis? I don't know. Oh, you can add a little bit more to that. Muriel, actually, it was fun listening to you and Keith on the Otter Stand talking about Chiron as well, too.
Chiron is so funny. Chiron is an asteroid, and it's called the bridge. It's in between Saturn and Uranus. Well, Keith is a Scorpio, so every time I say Uranus, he laughs because that's a Scorpio. They laugh. And so Chiron is you heal, and you heal through wisdom. You take the pain and you make it wisdom. You learn wisdom. Giggle. See the perverted Scorpios.
Linda's birthday is December 3rd.
December.
Oh, we're not going to say that out loud, but yes. Be gone.
That's what Keith needs. So it's called Be By.
Self-suggestions, yes, like hypnosis. I believe so. I don't know much about self-hypnosis. It's not something that I've done either, nor past life regression. So I'm not sure about any of that, but I believe that it can help and work. And I think that we have to meet it, no different than any alternative healing modalities, right? Like we have to be open to and allow that to integrate as well.
And what's interesting about astrology with past lives is we have what's called a south node. We've got a north node and a south node. South node is where an astrologer can look at your past lives. Karma. When you look to the south node, it's your security blanket. Because you've been through so many incarnations, usually repeating. It's where your comfort zone is. So in an astrology chart, our goal is to work towards the north node, which is your destiny. So instead of hiding into your south node, you got to climb out and go hit that north node. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yes, it does.
And it's easy stuff. It's not like, I came down here to conquer this or that. It's pretty easy stuff. It's pretty normal, everyday things. Like instead of, like for example, you look at the opposite, like for a Leo. Okay, Leo is heart. So if the south node is a Leo, that person could have been royalty. Leo is also the sign of royalty, by the way.
Which my granddaughter calls me Queenie.
Isn't that cool? It's true. It's a sign of royalty.
Yeah, she calls me Queenie.
So the north node says, you know what? You have to be thinking more in terms of the collective, because the collective is Aquarius and freedom loving and rebellious. So it's really an interesting study. Yes, south node is your comfort zone. Absolutely. It's your warm blanket. Yes, it's where we hide. It's fascinating.
Jennifer is just asking Linda for the link for Pachamama. Could you put in or make a comment linking people to Pachamama for you?
Yes, and because I want the pain stuff for my knee.
Keeson is just asking. Keeson, thank you so much for hanging out. I love that. I'm going to be on Sean Kelly's show with UPRN on Sunday night at 8:00. He has Into the Night, and I saw you were there. We were both watching. So Keeson is just asking, what's your definition of karma?
Okay, so in astrology, I'll tell you what it is in the South Node of astrology, but for spiritual astrology, your karma could be things that you accumulate in this incarnation, whether it be your actions, your intentions, your words, mainly actions. Or you can come in. If you've heard of ancestral karma, where if you come in with ancestral karma into the South Node, it shows up too. So like lineage, you can pull things down into this incarnation from your lineage. It's like, crap, why did I pick that? And we pick it. We pick it. So your astrology chart is your life's path here.
Kathy's just asking, what about being on the cusp?
Oh, I love this. Okay, your cusp is like she's Virgo Libra. So what's important, Kathy? That's why I have an ephemeris all the time. For example, I'll give you an example. I'm a Virgo Libra cusp. I was born on the 22nd of September. I have 0 Virgo tendencies. What are Virgo tendencies? Nurturing. They're very organized. Perfection. A Virgo is grounded. They're earthy. They love lists. They love Post-it notes. Everything. They balance their checkbooks. They're obsessive, like with cleaning. They're perfect.
My daughter.
Perfect. Mm-hmm. I have none of that. 0. So I looked it up on the ephemeris. That day in my year, Libra went in on the 22nd. So if you're a cusp, it's very important to do the research on an ephemeris to look at the year, because planets can be funny. The sun can go in on a day ahead or a day behind, if that makes sense. Kathy, not obsessive. The 21st of September, Post-it notes. I love Virgos. I wish I had 1 ounce. I don't mean obsessive, meaning, okay, like if a Virgo wants something done, it's like I have to mark it off of my to-do list and it's got to be done.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's not September 21st. That could be a Virgo. It could be a Libra. It
depends on the year.
It depends on the year. However, cusp babies can very well pick up signs of both. So you could have the qualities of a Virgo and the qualities of Libra. So it's a blessing, actually.
Keeson, it's okay. That's what these are all about, right? Is asking questions. It's how we learn. So I'm grateful. I mean, I'm sure there's somebody else that's needing to hear the answer to the questions that you're asking as well too. So they're grateful that you're asking the questions. So is karma like paying your debts?
Yeah.
Or learning lessons?
Lessons.
Great. Karen is just sharing she has
that's cool.
2 cusp children.
That's wonderful.
Case and Keith is just adding to the question, karma can also be receiving good things we deserve for the work that we've done. Agreed?
Absolutely. Karma doesn't have to be like, oh crap, it's karma. It can be excellent karma. You can get, I think the universe rewards, don't you? I mean,
yeah, I agree. I think that karma is, again, one of those words that people kind of misuse, like love and light and soulmates and all of those things that I always, I say it causes me stink eye tight butt.
Oh.
Like it's just like, oh.
Keith and oh my God, Keith and I do that on Monday nights. We're like, if you say love and light, I'm going to smack you.
Yeah.
Because it's not loving. It's not all loving. Shut up.
No, if they are in a love and light, it's just all love and light. I instantly know that the deep work is not getting done because it's snotty, ugly, uncomfortable, and raw. Like it's messy. You got to be okay about getting messy to get real about who you are and what your journey is about.
The mirror is ugly. It can be very messy.
Mm-hmm. And being gentle. And it's a lifelong process. It's not something that you can weekend warrior class through. It's lifelong work. Denise is just sharing, okay, I just took out a chart I had done back in 2014. I see true node listed. Where do you find north and south nodes?
Okay.
Thank you for asking, Denise.
It's okay. You get the north node looks like a little N with two little balls on the bottom of it. So it's going to be an N shape. The south node is going to be like a U shape with two little balls, and it's going to be directly across from your north node. It might not, the south node might not be in your chart, but the north node will be. The true node will be. So it'll be shaped like a little N, like a little hump, like a little upside down U, like an N, upside down U. So I hope that answers. Everybody's afraid of karma. I understand it.
Case and saying when you experience bad luck constantly, nonstop, is that your debt's weaning out rapidly? And it could also be like if your thoughts, right? Your thoughts create energy as well too. So if you are believing that it's only bad luck that's going to happen, and that's what you're thinking about, then that's sort of what happens as well too. There's that perspective.
I believe that wholeheartedly. I would flip that and say,
exactly.
From this day forward.
Yeah. So do a vow break. I now deem null and void any vows, contracts, or agreements between myself and blah, 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 blah.
Right.
In this lifetime, past lifetimes, alternate dimensions, alternate realities, wherever it may come from, blanket that everywhere.
Yeah.
And I mean, when we're talking about love and light and all that kind of stuff too, we can be on a love and light path and have bad days and bad emotions or bad feelings. Right. And I encourage people to go, okay, so that just like vomited out. I'm just going to clear, cancel, and delete that. And thank you very much. Clear, cancel, and delete.
Get out of here.
Yes.
Don't allow it. I always say I'm not going to allow it. Get him away.
Not today, Satan.
Yeah, I love that shirt. Not today, Satan.
Yeah, but everybody blames demons too, and that's like a whole other conversation.
I'm done over that too. Yeah, not everything is a demon, and not everything is a possession. Stop.
Yes, please. What you put out, you get more of. What you fear, you create.
Oh, perfect. That's a good T-shirt.
Keith, and this is thanks, Keith, for being here because you're filling in the gaps for us.
He's so funny.
Keith is just sharing case, and that could also be the planets guiding you. Something may be taken to be replaced with something better. And we don't always know. So that's where the faith comes in, right? And trust.
Oh, that's 100% because, when you work with true crime and forensic, you see probably more of the bad and the ugly than you see the good. Like when somebody is found, it's like, I want to just get up and scream. It's so happy. But that's where your faith does come in, and you say, was this fated? I don't know, but faith pulls you through everything. You have to pull on your faith, whether it be Buddha, God, the tree outside,
flying spaghetti monster, whatever.
Who cares? It's your faith. It's what's inside of you.
Yeah. Keith is just sharing Mercury and Pluto retrogrades guide us to help us.
Poor Keith hears me talk all the time about it. I'll be like, stop it with me. We laugh about Mercury retrogrades because retrogrades are and don't let people frighten you and fear you. Retrograde is the way that the universe says, slow down. We're going to review. We're going to revamp. We're going to slow it down.
Pause.
That's it.
Yeah.
Fear sells a lot of things.
Yes, it does.
You know?
Agreed. Joanna, thank you for asking. I'm going to be Sunday night at 8 o'clock Eastern time. I will be on Sean Kelly's podcast here with UPRN and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network called Into the Night.
Ooh, that's a cool name.
Into the Night. Yeah,
he's Into the Night.
Sean is very sweet. He has 2 shows. I think they're Sunday and Tuesday. Sundays are a little more relaxed, so it's just be a relaxed conversation about the paranormal and high strangeness.
We got a lot of strangeness going on now.
Lots.
You just roll with it.
Yes, Keith is sharing. You need to look at this in order to heal it.
Right.
If you shove back down, it comes back rougher the next time. Agreed. In so many different ways. Donna G is just sharing, I've had so many close people die over the past several years, many of them younger. It's so hard sometimes to be positive. Yes. And you don't have to pretend to be positive so that other people are comfortable either. It's okay for you to be where you are at. And I hope that people are holding space for you just to have all those feelings and not, trying to push you out of it.
And honor mourning, honor being sad, honor your sadness, honor mourning. It's okay. And I agree so much, Kerrilynn, that it's okay to be sad.
Yeah.
It's okay to be upset. It's okay to be anxious.
And however long it is. However long that takes you, right?
And it's so individual. Everybody does it differently. That's true.
This has been a blast, Joni. Do you think you'll come on again?
Oh my God, I'd love to. Please invite me again.
I would love it. Thank you so much. Thanks for being here. If you want to check more out about Joni, her shows are on Monday on the Rift Nation Network, Facebook, and YouTube. Keith Ottersberg show, the Otter's Den, is every second Monday, or it's every Monday, Keith's show, and every second Monday, Joni is on.
Keith
correct?
And I.
Yeah.
Well, I loved being on here. It was just that flew by.
It does. I told you. People kind of get wigged out at first when they hear that it's almost a 2-hour show, but then it just flies so quickly. It's just like really hanging out and having a coffee, right? And a conversation. Yeah. So
I'm a Libra. We can talk for hours.
Me too. Me too. Well, thank you. I appreciate you being here. Thank you, everybody that was listening and hanging out in the chat room with us today, asking questions and making comments. If you are interested, please hang out and continue listening with UPRN. Jeffrey Pritchett is on next with the Church of Mavis. And next week I have Dominic Sattel. I've had actually Julie Kraus, who commented tonight. She was on last week. Dominic and Julie work with Eric Mattel, who has also been on. You can find their shows through the archives with Eric Mattel Investigates. So he'll be on next week chatting about his journey and his mediumship and paranormal investigations. He will be on next week's show. So thank you all so much for being here, and we'll see you next week. Thank you to the United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 and 107.7 New Orleans. Good night, everyone. See you next week.
Good night. Thanks, hon.